the cow profile picture. J-Man, Jason Baxter, of course, Mr. Serenity, Euphoro, and my favorite bear, Craig, the recording bot. Hope everyone is doing fine. There he is, the mean-looking dragon. Hello, Rajmasters.
Good evening there. How are you? You good?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm well, actually. Had a good rest as well. Drinking some coffee.
Okay, I'm gonna prepare for a long one today, right?
I think this is my first time doing such a long game, eh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Mad Hatter's probably gonna be very accommodating. I hope so. No. Yeah.
Jason's here.
Does
Jason as
Jason
well.
also wanna jump up on stage?
Yes, please.
Sure. Hello there.
Hey boys, how are we doing?
Doing all fine. Long time no see.
Yeah, been grinding, working hard on the back end. You know how it is.
We know. I mean, I've been following everything. I mean, as a war dog holder myself, I'm just
Hey, there
always
you go.
keeping track of what's happening, right?
There we go. The puppies need to play as well, you know, those little doggies. Oh shit. No, I'm glad to be here. Glad to show the support. I mean, Warhaven, another extension of the WarFi ecosystem. So I know people are going to love this.
Well, definitely going to be interesting.
That's for sure.
Mad Hatter, should we get this started?
Yeah, man, for sure. Well, give me 2 minutes just to throw a quick announcement out that we're live, and then we can get it started.
Sure. Awesome. In the meantime, I mean, as you guys know, that's my favorite sentence. As we go, people come trickling in. But also just want to preface, we have this $100 giveaway, of course, also happening, which is going to be 4 times 25 USD, which is going to be announced at some point during the Q&A by Mad Hatter. In order to participate, in order to win, you have to join the Warhaven Discord, which I'm going to share the link now. I usually love to share links of the invite links because after our Q&As, I usually in the first place of invites in every Discord. Yesterday we had like a Q&A and I overtook one of the founders. So if there's ever an invite contest happening during one of the AMAs, like I'm definitely going to be first place. But yeah, let's get this started. Hey guys.
Actually,
yeah.
Sorry? Yeah, actually, there is an invite competition that's actually still running on Warhaven at the moment, just so you're aware. It ends tonight.
I'm already going to win, basically. So, yeah, I mean, you can. Yeah, let's probably announce that once we started. But yeah, let's get this rolling. The bot is there. Perfect. Alrighty, guys. Thank you all for coming today. Welcome to the Pillars. We are a community-led space aimed at supporting protocols and educating our investors for intelligent, meaningful conversation. Here we ask the tough questions you all want answered. Now, let me introduce to you Warhaven. And today we have the founder, the CEO, Raj Masters, and of course, everyone knows him, Mr. Jason Baxter here as well. As I said already, we have a $100 giveaway happening, which is going to be announced at some point. But I'm going to jump off the stage now. I hope everyone enjoys. Again, thanks for coming. And yeah, have a good one.
Thanks, my man.
Thank you, David. Much appreciated. Rajmaster, it's a pleasure to have you in and to get to speak to you. And Jason, of course, it's always a pleasure having you back. How are you guys?
Doing good, actually. And it's an honor to be on the Pillars, actually. I feel very honored.
Oh, well, thank you very much. We're honored to have you. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. I'm looking forward to this one. Jason, how you doing, my man?
Yeah, always grinding along, doing my thing, making sure the good space obviously of the DeFi is getting better day by day, project by project, and I think this is just a next step in the right direction. So I think people are going to love what Raj Masters have to offer, and I'm here to back him up, and like I said, growing that WarFi ecosystem, and just obviously to put obviously that safety, as well as that obviously rest assurance and that ease to people. But I really think this is going to be a cool AMA. People are going to enjoy it.
Great stuff. All right, Raj, can you give me a bit of an insight into your history kind of in crypto DeFi, a little bit about your path and how you guys got together to work together? Because I know you already had a bit of a background with WarFi, and what really compelled you to create something that was going to be able to run alongside them, and something that was going to be able to support WarFi and vice versa?
Yes, of course, my pleasure. So as everyone knows, okay, that I work for obviously WarFi, but prior to that, my entire life, I come from a poor background family, you see. So I've gone through like a lot of hardship, if you want to call it, with things like living expenses, etc., trying to look after my family. It wasn't an easy journey as I grew up, you see. I worked in the financial industry for over 13 years in the banking and investment side, and it was always a graft, I'll be honest. It's not as lucrative as people make it out to be. I discovered crypto in 2018. Well, I did discover it earlier, but I never actually got into it. But I first started going into like day trading and like hodling from 2019. It went quite well, and it was a good timing for me as well because that's when the bull market happened. Bitcoin was like around £2,500 back then when I first started, and then obviously we've seen how high it went from there. Uh, Started to test out the DeFi space in 2021, things like Pancake Swap, etc., cake farming.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it like a brand new experience. I was like, whoa, you know what? This is so cool. This is like a whole different game from Coinbase and Binance, where you just buy and sell and everything, where you can actually farm stuff. And then I started testing out the so-called DAO wars with those astronomical high APYs.
Yep.
Um, let's just say it was a hard lesson. Okay.
I think all of us
Um,
have suffered that lesson at some point.
yeah. But at least I managed to gain a lot of experience as well. That things are not always what it seems in DeFi. I started to become more diligent and try to do more, do your own research kind of thing, and just don't take things on face value. You see,
Mm-hmm.
what now? Last year obviously was a bit of a, how shall I say, challenging year for me
Mm-hmm.
due to the amount of how shall I say, rug pulls and you know bad projects that just had no revenue sources whatsoever. It was just pretty much all hype and everything. Fortunately, found WarFi through my good friend, Coach Andrew. He introduced me to WarFi. So I came as an investor originally. Started, investing in their products, and I actually understood Jason's vision not only on white paper, but through his AMAs and the conversations, the chats he would actually engage with the community. And I was like, you know what? That man's spot on. You
Mm-hmm.
know, everything he's saying it's correct, okay? Because without any utility or any revenue sources that's coming in, a token, etc., it means nothing. It's just like new investors paying old investors. So I started believing in WarFi. So I started helping out the community voluntarily, giving my time and everything,
Yeah.
using my knowledge from the things that I've learned from my own personal experience. And I was more of kind of like a numbers kind of guy, with the maths side and everything. And that helped me to become part of the core team, which I really appreciate Jason for allowing me to actually work with them. And once I became part of the core team, it was a whole new world for me. I realized like, no, there's a lot of, hard work goes into creating a very, very valuable project and looking after the community as well. It's a lot of work, but it's very, very
Mm-hmm.
rewarding. every single night when I used to like finish, how should I say, my shift, because I used to do like the night shift, it actually used to bring me joy knowing that, what, all these people in our community, they're actually being taken care of, you know? And
Hmm.
when I take care of like even something simple as tickets, it made me happy knowing that, what, I've taken care of that person's issue and
Right.
I'm looking for that person. So then I thought, what can I actually do, okay, to actually help expand the WarFi ecosystem? And so I started looking at it from an investor's point of view. If I was a new investor who just came in, what would I want to see? Is it just going to be the same product, or are there going to be other new, different products, different opportunities that can come out? And that's where Warhaven basically came from, because I wanted to, like create something that focuses more on the Bitcoin size.
Hmm.
So with the Bitcoin halving coming next year, I thought, this would be a great opportunity for people to start accumulating Bitcoin. Obviously, it's going to be in wrapped Bitcoin on the Polygon network,
Hmm.
but pretty much the same thing, of course, in price terms. So that's where I designed the War Dragon, where users can now actually have their payouts monthly claim either in USDC, which
Right.
everybody knows and loves, but they can also choose to have it in wrapped Bitcoin as well.
Right. Great. And we'll get into the War Dragons. So it sounds like a perfect storm of you kind of finding a project that you liked, engaging with the project lead whom you trusted, you enjoyed hearing how they spoke, I assume, and how they explained their vision of what they were creating. You managed to work your way up and become part of the core team, which gives you obviously some unique insights into how things operate. To move over to Jason for a second, Jason, what was it like working with Raj Masters once he came on board with you guys and started helping out?
The best, if I had to give him one word, to describe Raj, it would be asset. Like, he really is an asset to our team. Like he said, coming from a financial background and very similar to me, we both numbers guys. So having somebody to bounce ideas off of, to do the tokenomics behind a couple of the things that we've done, make sure obviously we are correct when we're obviously doing certain predictions and forecasts. It's been a pleasure working with a guy like that. You can
Hmm.
understand, dealing with a project that is as big as Warfi now, is crazy. And there is obviously some stress and, a bit of pressure. But having somebody that you can obviously rely on numbers wise, to always back you up and be like, hey, I've been working a couple days on this, I trust Raj to be the one to, you almost do the obviously checking before anything goes out, especially
Hmm.
when it comes to numbers. So Raj has been a very valuable asset to Warfi. And even though he's starting his own thing, and he is bringing a different side and more utility when it comes to Bitcoin, which is amazing. He's not going anywhere. He's still part of Warfi.
Right.
I'm not allowing him to leave. This is obviously us expanding the WarFi ecosystem. At the end of the day, Warhaven is his complete own product, but at the same time, he's so valuable that I can't let him leave. So at the end of the day, he's
Right.
running his own thing, but we're all doing everything together. I mean, that's what I said a year ago now, when I remember first doing AMAs and stuff like that. Being, we want to keep the good people in the space, and the good people are all going to start working together eventually. And this
Right.
is
Yes.
the start of that. You see obviously a lot of people, a lot of other projects, let's say, do AMAs and they do collaborations with other projects. Fair enough. Yes, that's great. But do you see them working on the same level as this? I don't think so. And that was my
Hmm.
vision from a year ago already. And it's playing out where, the good actors and the good, obviously, developers and everybody is coming together. And eventually, you will know you can only go to 3 or 4 different, obviously, people and 3 or 4 developers. And those are the people you stick to in the DeFi space because they tried, tested, and they are actually giving results. None of this nonsense and promises and no utility, no revenue, and all this nonsense. So yeah,
Right.
just to sum up again, Raj, amazing guy, trustworthy. The person that obviously I rely on a lot at WarFi myself. So definitely, obviously, a guy that I would say one word is an asset, and that's it.
Right. Great. Thank you. I mean, that's high praise. And it's interesting that you say, you rely on him for the numbers and he's a numbers guy, because a lot of the investors, especially ones that are looking at something a bit new and a bit different and might be taking a look at Warhaven, are going to want to know that whomever is sitting at the top does know their numbers inside and out, because often, especially in this space, because it's so experimental, anybody can come in and create something, but understanding the figures is going to be absolutely key to making it successful. One of the things, before I get a bit of an explanation on how Warhaven is going to work, and what you guys are doing with your ecosystem there, is it's obviously tied to WarFi, and you guys are at the moment very successful, especially in terms of how long you've been going, how long you've been paying out, how many months of negative returns you have or have not shown people. Does somebody want to speak a little bit about on that success? Because I think that success really underpins what Warhaven is about, and it's going to kind of give everybody a real insight as to why this is the direction that you wanted to go in, Raj Masters, when you were creating Warhaven.
Yeah,
Yes, of
so
course.
let
So,
me take this one, specifically for WarFi, and then Raj can come from it from the other side of WarFi.
Yeah, sure, please do.
The one thing I'm going to obviously say is that with WarFi right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mad Hatter, we're probably seen as one of the top 5 projects in DeFi right now,
Right.
right?
Yeah. You guys are,
And
and you're doing that quietly and not quietly. I mean, obviously you guys are shouting loud and proud, but it's something that's creeping in slowly now, and people are really starting to cotton on to how well you guys are doing and how high up there you are, I think.
And that's the thing, and that's what I like about it. We've grown organically through proof of concept. We haven't grown through having $100,000, $1 million marketing plan. We haven't grown through, people just obviously trying to hype us up. We've grown through proof of obviously concept. Everything is working. I mean, through our, exclusive partnership with Shiny Jackal and the bots that he runs, along with the ones that we do, and the numbers and everything like that. Once again, Raj Master being part of those numbers. We've really now had 17 months of green profits through those bots.
Mm-hmm.
17 months
Right.
without any
That's,
negative months.
yeah, that's
So
massive.
we're not promising people a percent a day, 100% a month. We're not idiots. We understand. We come from backgrounds of financial and actual trading the market. Okay, and we understand people need something sustainable. There's too many people losing their money in this space, but they do want to make good returns. So we've really hit the nail on the head, and we've got obviously everything turned right so people can actually make a very good profit over the long term. And that's
Mm-hmm.
how all your millionaires and billionaires are made in this world. They didn't do it overnight. They planned and they built and they move ahead, and they obviously took the long-term goal. And that's what WarFi has been doing. I mean, we're over millions and millions of dollars right now, right?
Right.
And that's not even counting the projects that are in the background that are using our bots for their external revenue. I can name quite a few, that are using us, not just obviously, like a huge partnership like Warhaven, but guys like Dauntless, that have launched. You've got obviously guys like Hybrid Bond that I'm sure you had on here a day or two ago.
Yeah, we spoke to them yesterday. Had a very good conversation with them yesterday.
Great
And
guys.
yeah, great guys, and also very high in praise for what you guys are doing. And it's a testament to, I mean, they're smart people. They know what they want to do. They've got, slow and steady wins the race in terms of passive income at the front of their minds, at the back of their minds, and in the middle of their minds. And you guys are also at the center of that in terms of partnerships. So it's a real testament to what you guys are building out. And 17 months, a year and a half practically, of green returns is huge.
Exactly. And it's no small feat either. I mean, if you look at over those 17 months, we're doing over 8% average.
Right.
Yes, after the FTX collapse. So even through the FTX collapse, the market collapsing, the Luna collapse, the market, coming down 85% since the highs, we're still having green months. So yes, the volatility and the volume has decreased by over 95%, but we're still bringing in great averages. The last couple months have been a little bit slower. I mean, our highest month in the last 5 months was, I think, 8.7%. Which is still amazing. I mean, you don't even see that in a full year in the normal, obviously, markets. So
Right.
we are doing amazing. And yes, you look at a team like you said, like Hybrid Bond, they've been here for a long time. They've seen all the bot projects, they've seen all the different trading projects, and they came to us because they realized we're specialists and we've been here a long time. We know what we're talking about when we come to this game, and we could see a mile away, which projects are here to make quick money and obviously not thinking about their actual communities, and the ones that are actually trying to make a difference. And I think WarFi has done a great job in building up community slowly. And with the 1 or 2 projects we are obviously bringing into the ecosystem in the next couple of months, to the end of this quarter and the bit into the next quarter, people will really start seeing WarFi, make a charge for trying to take that number one spot in DeFi. And especially through all our circles, people are going to see the difference that we're making and the community, what they're doing. So yes, from a standpoint, WarFi is hugely successful due to the people that run it, i.e. Raj Masters, but also due to the community and obviously growing slowly and belief in what we've done. And our proof of concept has been there now. I mean, we've got a long track record. We've been giving great returns. And at the end of the day, that's obviously the undertone of building up this amazing community, but building projects around it and diversifying. I tell people all the time, please diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, even if it is WarFi. I would never give that advice, because if I was an investor, a smart investor, I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket anyway. So what I can safely say is that's what we're trying to do within the WarFi ecosystem. Where yes, Warbot's great, WarFi is doing amazingly, but now you want to diversify. You want to get into a little bit of Bitcoin, and we can do that as well now with obviously Warhaven. And slowly but surely, things like that are going to be coming out. So we want people to diversify, but we're going to send them to the right people. The good actors, the good developers, the people that are actually here to build in this space and make a difference and aren't here just as bad actors. So yes, that's why I believe Raj Masters is obviously the best person to take Warhaven forward, and why it's going to be so successful going forward from our point of view.
Great, thank you. And I think it's important for the listeners to hear a little bit of a background. I mean, you and I are going to speak in more depth next week, and I'm looking forward to that conversation. But I think it's important just to give them that underpinning of where Warhaven is coming from in terms of what it's building upon. And like we said, 17 months of green returns is huge, especially in this space. Raj Masters, it must have been a no-brainer for you if you were kind of, enjoying the space, you were enjoying working with WarFi. Ideas, I'm sure, were rattling around in your mind in terms of what you wanted to build. It would have been a no-brainer that you wanted to go in this direction. Where did the first seed of an idea come from for you to really create something like Warhaven?
Well, it actually started from towards the end of last year, actually, around December period. I've been looking at like building some of the more future products that you see in the Warhaven Git book. You might have seen like the Dragon Shares and the Awoken. However, to build those products, there had to be like a revenue source, you see, because you can't just, like create something where you're relying on investors' money to technically like fund all the developments, etc., for it. So I thought, okay, you know what? Since we need a revenue source, first of all, okay, yeah, what I can do is I can create a different model of the Warbots, if you want to call it, which is the War Dragon that I created. But I wanted it to be different, a little bit more unique. So this way, people don't see as it's a competition or conflict, like, between the WarFi Warbots and Warhaven War Dragons. I wanted it to something like, hey, you know what? I'm going to get the WarFi Warbots for this purpose, and I'm going to get the Warhaven War Dragon for that purpose. So it's like you want to have both of them in your collection for different strategies, for different goals, you see. Now, obviously, as you've seen from the Git book, Warhaven receives 4.25% of every deposits on the $1,000 that people they put in. So this will be utilized by Warhaven for our own, specialized Warbots. You can call it Warbots version 4, actually, which is a bit more specialized, designed more, to bring in a bit more revenue for the Warhaven project. Now, from these revenue that we're going to be creating from the Warbots version 4, the entire ecosystem and the products, we are going to develop it from our own revenue stream. So this way, there is like no Ponzi element involved in the Dragon Shares or the Awoken. People, we don't need to like rely on new investors coming in to fund them. We are going to fund everything from our own pocket.
Okay, so before we get into kind of the nitty gritty of that, talk to me about the imagery. Where did the imagery for Warhaven come from, and this idea of dragons? Is it something that you were personally interested in? Is it some ideas that you guys threw around? How
Um,
did you settle on that?
glad you actually asked that. See, I've always been one of those, like, ever since I was young, I love things like fantasy, mythology, stories, and everything. Due to my autism, I'm very, very, into those kind of things like imagination stuffs.
Mhm.
So I always wanted something like a dragon thing, something because the way I saw it, like I was like, okay, so Jason's got these warbots that are like more mechanical, and more military style, and he's doing that. He's waging his war on DeFi on bad actors with
Mhm.
the army kind of, like figures there. So I thought, right, why don't I provide him some aerial support through some dragons raining down fire? So that's the vision that came in my head actually. So to just try to imagine this, Jason with his armies, they're all marching and everything with the soldiers, the war jets, the war heroes, and then he calls on support. Right, need Raj Masters. Raj Masters, get over here. Unleash the
Right.
dragons.
I mean, it sounds, people might think it sounds silly, but it's always good to create something around something or an idea that you're passionate about. And the fact that you have a narrative in mind for this, particularly because from first observation from my reading, the Git book, it feels like it's a little bit of a game in a way at times, right? And that this game can be played as a passive income game that's going to get you some juicy returns, especially in Bitcoin. But you're creating something obviously that you're passionate about and around
Yeah.
something that you're passionate about, which I like. Is that going to be the central theme moving forward now that you have this fantasy element that you're going to build out um, to juxtapose against the military element of warfight? That's going to continue?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So Warhaven is all going to be based around the dragon theme going forward.
Great. So talk me through it. How at base level is Warhaven gonna work for you? How does the ecosystem work? If someone's listening to this and they want to jump straight in, where are they going to jump straight in? What are the options that they have, and how are those options going to work for them?
Okay, so if a new user was to come into Warhaven right now, but they've never heard about WarFi or Warhaven before, what they're going to do is they're going to get themselves a War Dragon first. So that's the very first product that we're releasing in our ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be a DApp where a user can deposit like $1,000 of funds, and they will receive the tier one NFT, which is the War Dragon. Now, these tiers they can actually upgrade, and there's actually a purpose for the upgrade as well. So they can either deposit more funds or they can compound if they choose to.
Mm-hmm.
And as their pool balance increases over time, it will upgrade to the next tier in the system. So after the War Dragon, we've got the Dragon Lord NFT. So that
Mm-hmm.
image of the dragon, War Dragon, it will change automatically into a Dragon Lord once their pool balance reaches $8,500. So that's like the next tier, and so on to the tier after that as well. Now, in the future, when we release the Dragon Shares product, because they are very limited, those NFTs,
Mm-hmm.
uh, in order to qualify to participate in the Dragon Shares, a user will have to own a Dragon Lord NFT, which is the tier two. See, Warhaven, I've designed it where I want like long-term participants,
Mm-hmm.
who want to like enjoy passive income monthly from the trading bot. So these are real profits was generated by Shiny Jackal trading bots. And everybody knows Shiny Jackal, how successful he has been, for over a year.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually want people to actually play the, so it's a bit like gamified system where it's like, okay, right, I'll start off the first stage with the War Dragon, and I'm going to take some profits along the way, and also like compound along the way as well, and eventually when my pool reaches a certain size, I'm tier 2 Dragon Lord. And now when the Dragon shares is available in the future, I now qualify where I can actually participate into this new product, which will pretty much be the backbone of the Warhaven ecosystem.
Right, great. And you have 3 different tiers all the way up to Dragon God. Well, technically 4, because you start with an egg once you connect to the DApp, right? Once you connect for the first time, you start with a tier 0, which is a dragon egg, and then
Yes, there's
that
5
slowly
tiers actually.
progresses. Okay,
There's
sorry,
5
I
tiers.
stand corrected.
Yes, but
Um,
that's correct. Dragon Egg starts first when you have a 0 balance first time loading up.
Right. Now, one of the things that people are going to look at is the barrier of entry, and it's $1,000. Were you guys aware that that was a high barrier of entry? Have you toyed with the idea of lowering it at any point? Is it always going to sit at $1,000? Are you going to implement something that might allow people to come in incrementally at slightly lower amounts, or is simply you've got to purchase the first one at 1,000?
For the time being, I've decided, okay, for $1,000 entry would be a good starting point for those who are actually, how shall I say, looking for the long term with a sizable amount. Because what I didn't want was like, somebody like coming in with say $250 or $500, and then the returns that they see, it might not feel like it's worth it. You see, because if you're
Right.
earning say 5% on say $500, that's so that you're making like say $25 at the end of the month. Would it still incentivize them to still carry on? Now, it may be possible in the future that we may bring in a lower entry NFT. It is something that obviously I can discuss with the team, but
Mhm.
for the launch, it is $1,000 that we're starting
Okay.
off with.
So, and feel free to jump in, Jason, if you want to jump in on this one too. Who are the target investors that you guys are aiming at? Because obviously not everybody is going to afford $1,000, and I completely accept the response that you find that the returns at 1,000 are going to be better. Visually, of course, it looks better, but then you are perhaps narrowing the scope of investor that can come in. So who are you guys really targeting this towards?
Well, to be honest, like Raj was saying, we do have a number of holders now in WarFi that have been with us for a while. And like I said, I preach to good investors, clever investors, long-term investors, that diversification is key. Okay. And at the end of the day, if you know the bull market's coming, USDC is always going to stay at $1. $1 is $1. All right.
Right.
But if you could have a system that you're preparing for the bull run, where obviously the diversification is coming from with what Warhaven is doing, with the Bitcoin, and we've seen it tried and tested what Bitcoin has done in the space over the last 12 years. And that's what I believe is the key of obviously of Warhaven. But the same point, that's why he's also targeting these long-term investors, because these are people that are preparing for the bull run 2 years ahead of time. And that's why he's obviously done it in such a way where starting off with $1,000 is something that we feel is really going to make our community, jump for this, because of obviously the potential returns on $1,000 when it comes to obviously the bull market happening in 2 years from now. So I think it's a good amount. I mean, you could always, your community is key at the end of the day. So if you do have feedback from community saying, listen, we got 100 guys looking to get in, but we, just a little bit lower, then of course, I'm sure Raj Marges and their obviously team will have obviously talk about that. Community is very key. But I think, the initial obviously numbers, and you can trust in being a numbers man. And that's why it's obviously been pinpointed at $1,000. So I have full faith in obviously my numbers guy, and Raj is that guy. So.
Of course, yeah. Thank you. So, Raj, when it comes to the gamification of it, how do you anticipate, or how do you want the investors that come in with you to play the game? Because obviously there's a claim function, there's a compound function. Are you anticipating them splitting it a certain way? Are you going to be guiding them towards what you think is the optimal way of playing it from your background in numbers? How are you going to explain that to your investors?
I'm glad you actually asked that, actually. Okay. So, with the War Dragons, okay, I've actually, with the features that we have where you can actually claim between USDC and wrapped Bitcoin, there's multiple ways of doing it. Now, now this is just my opinion, guys, so don't take it as financial advice, of course, yeah. As we all know, with the Bitcoin halving coming next year, very soon, and the bull market should be coming soon as well. Okay, it might make more sense, obviously, to take your claims in wrap Bitcoin, so that way you're actually building up your Bitcoin accumulation there, because that's the whole purpose of what Warhaven War Dragon is about. It's about accumulating Bitcoin. And so if the bull market comes and prices of Bitcoin are going up, it makes sense to take your claim in Bitcoin. Now,
Mhm.
should a bear market then suddenly come where prices are starting to go down on Bitcoin, then it makes sense to take your claim in USDC.
Right.
So
So you're really offering people an opportunity to jump in on something that we know is going to halve soon. History dictates that the price is going.
I'm gonna add something small there as well, Mad
Please
Hatter.
do.
You know,
Yes, please do.
listen to what he just said. He's telling people to claim. He's telling people to take money out of the project.
Hmm.
Guys, if that's not a sign, what is? You know, every project out there, no, compound for the next 10 months. You know, don't take money out of the project. Hello. That's just a sign. I want people to be aware of that. You know, that's how obviously great, you know, the WarFi ecosystem, WarFi, Warhaven, everything is picturing up to be, because we want people to have profits. We want them to do well in the long term. We want them to take those claims, build up their Bitcoin. You know, at the end of the day, this is a team that's telling you how to make the best money, and they've been doing it for over a year already. So you can
Hmm.
trust in the fact that when other projects are telling you hold, you know, you can't hold until something dies. You can't compound until something dies. But if you've
Right.
already claimed, you can't lose that claim. You've already got it in your hands. So just think of that when you're obviously looking at a project where the actual founder is telling you, claim, guys. Take as much money out as you can and keep building that bag. That's a good
Right.
sign.
It is a good sign,
absolutely.
and so it's a good point that you raised. So I'll push back and ask: have you designed a system, Raj Masters, that forces people to perhaps take a bit of a claim? So maybe the max that they can compound is 50%, or are you leaving it entirely in their hands? Because the point is very valid that you should always be taking something out. You should always be taking some profits out, and especially if you're getting exposure to Bitcoin, you should always be trying to take as much as that out, especially between now and the halving and when the bull run hits. So are you designing something that is going to guide, by the way of the mechanics of your contract, to force people to take profits out, or can they still compound 100%?
Right, yeah. So people obviously they can compound, because unlike WarFi where you've got like compound claim and the 50/50 option, because I wanted it to be, a bit more different, and I wanted to be more Bitcoin focused. And I know how some people they do like to obviously compound. So that's why I have given them the ability that, hey, you know what? You can compound your earnings for the month if you choose to do so. Okay.
Hmm.
But me personally, I would prefer for an investor to, do the strategy that I mentioned, which, as I said, wasn't financial advice. It was just merely my opinion, and it's the same suggestion I have given to my friends and my family who are also getting involved in purchasing them. Just so you know, so I'm actually getting my own family members to put money into this project as well.
Hmm.
So if a user feels like, hey, you know what, okay, I want to upgrade to a tier 2, so they got a choice between either they can put more funds in, or they can basically just compound the earning. That's their choice. They can do that, of course, but they've also got a choice of claiming. And as I said, they've got two different assets: claiming wrap Bitcoin if it's a bull market,
Right.
claiming USDC if it's a bear market. It's completely up to the user, whichever strategy that works out best for them.
And are you going to have any visuals on the DApp that is going to give people a bit of an insight, certainly those that are inexperienced? Because one of the things that I always hear from project leads is that they've come through torrid times, especially in the bear market. They lost a ton. Information is always key in this space. Will there be that information in which you might say, this is not financial advice, but what we do recommend is that you start taking in Bitcoin now, the wrap Bitcoin now. This is how much we're going to recommend you perhaps compound versus claim. Are you going to give them that visual?
Firstly, I would never ever tell anybody on how they should, how much they should take or not, you see, because then I'm just giving people like financial advice, or I'm steering people into a path which, let's just, because nothing's guaranteed in life, you see. Okay.
Hmm.
Last thing I want to do is I want to where, say, the community, they've built up trust with me because of my past deeds on how I've interacted with them. So a person might be like, okay, I've known Raj Masters for a year, he's always been helpful, etc. you know and if Raj Master is giving this information that we should try to maybe do this or do that, but let's just say I got it wrong, for example, okay, because it suddenly became a bear market right now, and now they see that, okay, I should have been taking USDC, I shouldn't have been like taking in Bitcoin.
Hmm.
It's going to come back on me, you see, and it's going to look bad on me, and I will also feel devastated, knowing that I gave them a suggestion, which didn't quite pan out the way that they wanted. Um, so I would obviously say to people, obviously, it's up to them to decide how they want to interact in regards to claiming, compounding. It's completely up to them.
Right, understood. And I think that's a fair response. You're giving people the option to do what they want, and you don't want to be responsible for the decision making that they might take. And therefore, I suppose your Discord is always going to be open for questions if people want to ask. I imagine the community, like the WarFi community, is going to be very strong in helping and guiding one another. So that'll be an avenue that they can take if they wanted to find that information on how best to play your particular protocol. One of the straight questions you'll be asked is, where is the Bitcoin coming from?
Okay, so the way it works, okay, because I've actually discussed with Shani Jackal personally. I was in a direct message with him when it came to the creation of the War Dragons. What I originally wanted to do was I wanted a trading bot that actually, the funds and everything is strictly in Bitcoin. That's how I
Hmm.
originally wanted it.
Right.
However, what Shani Jackal explained to me was that you can't actually do it strictly in Bitcoin, where the pool balance is actually in Bitcoin.
Hmm.
The only way you can actually do that is if it's in a spot market, but you can't do it with things like, leverage, etc. If it's in strictly Bitcoin, well, that's not how he does it. So he advised, like, if I do still want people to earn the rewards in Bitcoin, what would happen is when it comes to the claim function at the end of the month, this there. So say somebody earned $50, for example, at the end of the month, their reward. Okay.
Hmm.
So when they choose that they want to take it out in wrap Bitcoin, what happens is that $50, it gets off ramped and converted into wrap Bitcoin and then paid out to the user. So this actually protects the user as well, because if that entire pool balance was actually in Bitcoin, and so say they got $1,000 in
Hmm.
Bitcoin in their full balance. Now let's just say a bear market started and and Bitcoin went down by 50%. That $1,000 value in Bitcoin will now turn into $500 for the user. Let's be honest, okay. I don't think anybody's gonna be happy with that. You see,
Right.
okay. Obviously, the reverse is true as well. Should Bitcoin go up by 100%, then their balance will be higher. But I think more people, I just want to protect users, you see. So
Okay.
we felt it's best to keep it in US in stable coins, and only at the moment of when they're choosing to take their claim, it then turns into wrap Bitcoin for the user.
Right. Understood. So you're very cognizant that you want to protect the investors the best way you can, and the best
That's
way you
right.
can is to ensure that whatever it is that is in their pool balance remains that, in terms of dollar value, right? So if something drops, they can still take that dollar value in a stable token rather than Bitcoin.
Yes.
Are
That's
you ever going to add other tokens?
I funny you actually asked that. I was actually in a meeting yesterday with with the team, and In the future, yes, I will be looking into adding other tokens. So it won't stop at Bitcoin, just so everybody's aware.
Hmm.
There will be other tokens, like, other coins we will be adding. So it might be that, there might be a special War Dragon where you can actually claim Ethereum, for example, or any other kind of coins that the community, from community feedback that they like to see. So
Hmm.
we'll be looking into multiple different options.
Okay. Um, so talk to me again about these tiers, because one of the tiers says that once you get to that stage, and it's 100,000, I believe, $100,000, there's going to be some high perks that you say on your whitelist it's going to be classified. Can you tease a little bit of an idea about what kind of perks they can be expecting as you expand your ecosystem?
For that, I'll need to obviously check with Jason. So let's just say, okay, with the Dragon God NFT, not only will the users obviously get first-hand information, months before anybody else, but there are certain developments that are happening in the WarFi ecosystem, which I'm not at liberty to discuss at this moment. Okay.
Hmm.
Let's just say that they'll be able to participate a lot more sooner.
Right, understood. I know you're very aware that Jason's sitting next to you right now. So if at any point you want me to remove him from the stage, just let me know and I'll do so. And it will just be you and I.
Yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
wish I could obviously tell, but
Of course. No, but there's going to be
my
some
boss
interesting
is there
things
next to
down the
me.
line. So effectively, what you're doing is, as people scale up and trust more money with you, you are going to give them options that are going to be more lucrative to them, more interesting to them. And I'm sure as perhaps partnerships come out and you guys develop out your ecosystem, there's maybe going to be something like an early bird for those people that are in those tiers. I would imagine.
That's correct. Yes, there's going. I mean, if I was to say to you right now, how whatever size of our ecosystem is right now,
Hmm.
WarFi and Warhaven, and if I was to say to you, try to imagine it's going to be 10 times bigger, what would you say?
Hmm. Okay. Yeah,
Right. A lot going on.
understood. Gentlemen, I know we're going to have a conversation next week, but Shiny Jackal comes up. It's an individual, and that sits at the center of both of your respective protocols. Um, what happens if something happens?
Sure.
Everyone
So,
talks about the bash crash scenario, and God forbid that happens, and touch wood, it doesn't. But one of the things that a lot of people might be concerned with, of course, we've got these 17 months of fantastic back testing and people can see that it's just green months. But if something does happen, what as a contingency do you have in place, Raj Masters, to ensure that it doesn't impact your Warhaven investors?
Well, let me
yeah,
let
so
me
for
step
that
into
one,
this one before. I think it's a good time for me to step in on this one. Sorry, boys, just to make it sure that people understand where as well. And just to correct you as well, there, Mad Hatter. It's not 17 months of back testing. It's 17 months of live trading.
Right. Okay.
After 17 months, there was still another 2 years of back testing as well. So the 17
Right.
months of green is literally live trading with actual money. Anyway, besides that, so Shiny is now part of WarFi. All right. Everybody thinks of it as Shiny Jackalbots because that's what it was doing. When we actually made this exclusive partnership, okay, this was basically an integration of two protocols becoming one. All right. And that's why, anybody can go to Shiny Jackal and he's going to tell you, you get into my bots through WarFi because it's obviously one team. Now, he's got a team of guys working under him as well. And I can confirm this because I've met them. Guys like we've got two economists, right? We've got two day
Hmm.
traders. We've got two, obviously, guys that watch the bots 24/7. So the reason why our bots, because there's a couple different bot projects at the moment, and I see a couple of them saying, oh, there's no volatility, there's no volume, we made nothing this month, and then you get us that are making obviously profits, and people are like, but how is WarFi and Shiny, and Jason, how are they making profits? It's because we're not just bots. Okay, these bots are changed on a daily basis because we obviously do it with the markets. But that's not
Mhm.
specifically shiny. That comes from our economists. And then when the economists say there's a macro play at hand, we can adjust to each level. Then the day traders are picking up volumes in different parts of the market. Once again, we adjust. We can make 10 adjustments a day. So once you've bought a bot from, let's say, a protocol, that bot's going to stay the same forever. So you might be working on last year's parameters and you wonder why it's losing you money in this year's parameters. So there's big differences. But let's say, for example, me, Shiny, or even James Pelton, was in a car accident. The guys that are obviously in strategic places within our obviously company, right, have the access to everything else. So it's not like I'm the man and I do all the decision making. It's not like Shiny makes all the decision making. There's
Mhm.
parts of the project and each part has at least two people. And that's what's so nice, and that's the same as you can see the concept with me and Raj. There's two people doing the numbers. All right.
Right.
And the reason for that is that there's always a backup. There's always somebody you can bounce ideas off of. And there's always somebody that's obviously there and checking everything you're doing. And that's the
Right.
same how the company model has gone overall, because my real world businesses, I've done exactly the same. Because
Okay.
you can't rely heavily on one person, because if something happens to that one person, as you said, then that gap is not filled, something could happen. So yes, in the case of anything like that happening, there's obviously other team members that obviously are there, that it would go on as normal. If, for example, World War III breaks out and we all pass away, then probably crypto means nothing if World War III.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah, and well done for correcting me. It's rare that somebody puts me in my place on the stage here, but too right. I misspoke when I said backtesting. It is live trading, and that's what I meant. So yes, it's good that you're creating a hive of minds that are going to be working towards this, rather than it being reliant on one individual. Of course, the perception is when a name constantly comes up that it is just on that person, but as you've explained just then, it is a hive of people that are working, and multiple people in different sections, and I think that's important. One of the questions asked right now is how the War Dragon pool tiers, how are they going to work or be displayed on the existing Warbat NFT DApp? Is it going to be its own DApp?
Yes, that's correct. Yes. So Warhaven will have its own dragon-themed dia, a separate one from the WarFi. It will be similar in terms of functionality and everything, of course, but the theme is going to be more centered around the dragon theme, of course. So it will look, slightly different from the WarFi dia.
Right. And talk to us a little bit about the exit system that you guys have in place.
Yes, of course. Right. So, as you know, okay, my vision is I want people to take money. You see, okay?
Mhm.
I don't want to lock people up forever. You know, obviously, if somebody wants to stay with the protocol for years, that's completely fine. They've got that choice. But I also want people to, get their money out as well. I want to give them that option from, as soon as possible, of course. So what will happen is, let's just say a user has a balance of $1,000 and they just need to take that money out because something just came up in real life. They need that money. Maybe they want to pay for a deposit for a car or something. What a user needs to do is they need to open up a ticket. So this needs to be done by the 20th of the month. So this gives the team enough time to obviously put that request through and put everything in place to pull that person's money out. Now, the user will still receive their rewards for that month because their funds are still in the trading box. So that is still making them money for that month. So they will still receive that. So at the end of the month, when we pull their money out, we will first add their rewards for that month. So it will be slightly higher than what they initially requested because they've earned for that month. There is no reason why I should deny them their month's earning. Okay. And then after that, Warhaven charges a 10% fee and it's all paid out in USDC to the user.
Right.
Simple.
Great. And again, I think that's something that people will be interested in hearing because, as you say in your white paper or the Git book, things happen. Life can come at you hard and fast, and at
Yeah.
times there are going to be people that do want to exit. And it's nice when a protocol has in mind that they don't want to keep people in if they want to get out, and if they've accumulated funds in there that they can just exit, provided they're able to do it by a set point, understandably, because you've got to have the time to be able to withdraw those
That's
funds from the
correct.
bots. Right.
Yeah.
You want me to? I see. There was one question asked right in the beginning. All right, and clearly the person probably just doesn't know us. That's why. Are you guys doxed and KYC'd? Guys, like if you know me by now, I've been here for over a year, and my face is everywhere. My face is my profile picture. I've been on James Pelton's channel. So yeah, if you go look in our papers, all right, we're audited, we're doxed, we're KYC'd, we're everything. People know where my house address is because I want you to come visit. Because there's never any bad things with WarFi. Like literally, you go through my paperwork, you will literally find my address. If you're a bad actor, I've got bigger guns than you. I'm from Africa. We're not scared of anybody. But if you're a good actor, I'll invite you. Come have a braai. We call a barbecue a braai. So come to the place where you'll get the best meat. Come have a braai with me anytime. Just show up
Right.
and I'll be hosting. But anyway, so we are everybody fully doxed, fully KYC'd. I even hold everybody in my own team fully KYC'd as well. But David, you're right. It is a threat because we don't want bad actors. Remember, I'm waging a war on DeFi, so bad actors beware. But all the good actors, you're more than welcome to take us to the promised land with me.
You're a couple of steps ahead of me. I was going to get to the KYC, but you got there first.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I mean, people can see your face. When you and I first spoke, you were Chicken Chaser, and now have transitioned to your full name because you want that transparency, because you want people to be able to see who you are, and it is a testament to how much you trust your own projects and your product.
Agreed.
And I think that's a strong position to be in. So yes, that answers that question. In terms of transparency, talk me through what kind of transparency Warhaven is going to have, and how you might how you're going to display all of the information that your investors are going to want to have to hand.
Yes, of course. Okay. So, like in WarFi Discord, recently we have added on bots on the side of the Discord where people can actually see the total amount of pools that are actually trading at the moment and the amount of money that's in the pending slot waiting to be traded. Okay. So we are going to have all these key information displayed on our Discord soon, of course. Okay, so this way people can confirm how much money is being, utilized for the trading, etc. So all the information that you see in WarFi Discord, we will be having those exact same transparency information on Warhaven as well. It's just we're
Right.
just building up there. That's all. Early days.
And when is your DApp going to be released? When are they going to be able to see what it is that you guys are displaying and how it will be displayed?
Jason, if you'd like to
Basically,
on
we
that.
have a launch party on James Pelton's channel on Friday, which we will be launching it and giving it to everybody there as well. So it will be all launched at the same time, so it's completely fair. And I think that's once again a testament to what we're doing in the space and treating things fair, honest, open. And I think that's going to be the best way to do it as well. So that'll be released obviously on launch day, but we can actually release it before the time. We're just going to stop people from investing before, so we can give it to them before the time as well. We're just putting some finishing touches, to make sure it's obviously perfect for Warhaven.
Right, understood. Let me just double check some of these questions because there's some interesting questions coming in, and people are obviously paying attention to what you guys are doing. I'm super curious to understand, as you guys are building out, and as Rajmasters you begin to build out, is it always going to be something that is so heavily ingrained with WarFi, or will there become a point where you perhaps say to yourself, okay, maybe I'm going to design something that perhaps moves a little bit away from this joint venture, and it goes in a little bit of my own direction?
That's actually easy enough to answer, actually. I'm loyal to WarFi for life. I'm going to be straight up. Okay. I am part of the WarFi team. Everything that I am building, you know how you got developers build on a chain, right? Well, Warhaven is building on the WarFi ecosystem. So everything that I design, I create, I build, my vision, is all to expand the WarFi ecosystem. So I'm just putting that out there so everybody knows that I'm never going to be like, how should I say, creating a separate project or moving the Warhaven project away from WarFi. Warhaven is more like, try to imagine WarFi like the head in a body, and Warhaven as its right hand supporting it.
Right. Understood. I think that's a great answer. I think there's nothing wrong with wanting to focus on one thing. I think loyalty is great, and I think the fact that you're building out specifically to help another protocol speaks to what Jason was saying at the top of the Q&A here, which is it's working with good actors within the space. I remember in our first conversation, Jason, that you were saying you wanted to work with good actors, and this is a testament to that. When people are wanting to create things specifically to help you, because it obviously means that they also trust in your vision, and that trust is going to be paramount moving forward. Now, Jason, I know you're not going to like this question, but I ask it every time anyway. There's going to be points of failure that need to be identified, and they're going to have to be worked on harder than any other aspect of the protocol, because you want to ensure that it's as safe as possible. When you're looking at this, Raj, do you identify any small part that you think is perhaps a large point of failure that you are actively working on either totally eradicating or reducing down to its absolute bare minimum in terms of risk?
Okay. Now, the way I've actually designed Warhaven, right, there is, I can actually potentially see any points of failure that can actually
I can expand on this a little bit, because we've already had those points of failure, okay? And we've already sorted them out. Our points of failure, look at other obviously discords right now. Look at other trading protocols right now. If they're legit, okay, and they're actually trading and their bots are actually running, you've got a couple of them out there that have not made any profits up till date for this month, because the volume has been terrible, the volatility has been terrible up until obviously the last couple of days. But you've got other big protocols, right, that are worth $1 million, right, or more, saying that they haven't made profits this month. Why is that? Because of volume and obviously volatility. That's obviously what's said. We're the only project that's still making returns in that time. Why? Our biggest drawdown is obviously the market. Remember, we've got trading bots that trade against everybody in the market. So if the volume goes down, if the volatility goes down, then of course that will affect our profits. But we've been doing this for 17 months, so we've already noticed those. We've had our lowest months that have gone down to 3%. And now we're in the lowest we've ever been, and we're still doing 4, 5, 8%. We've been there. We've already hit our hardest times. We've already solved those problems, and we've moved forward. The only other black swan event would be if crypto falls. That's it.
Right. Okay, and that's again a fair pushback. So,
and I got some alpha. David saw it on here. Something that nobody's ever seen, not even in WarFi yet, right?
Okay,
so
exciting.
I put something out there saying, and this is to obviously to show my testament to Raj as well. He's obviously backed WarFi tooth and nail right now. And, I'm prepared to release this now before even showing it to WarFi because of that. So the biggest WarFi holder in Warhaven, right, will be getting this e-commerce and merch hasn't even been released yet, but everybody can take a look at the AMA question stage, and this will be shipped and sent to that person. This is just one of the first designs available. You guys will be getting this. So yeah, that's already going to our top 10 holders as well. They just don't realize it yet, but we've built up a strong ecosystem, and we're going to start giving back to our community. And this is just one of the things that we're doing and slowly building up. Our team will get these. But anyway, so there's an extra one left over, and I believe it's going to, anybody that's obviously supporting WarFi and supporting Warhaven, will be getting this. So just putting that out there.
That's great. Thank you very much. I like that a lot. Rajmasters, I'm curious to perhaps open up the stage to some questions from the audience, if you're okay with that. Jason, are you okay with that as well?
Of course.
I don't usually bring people up, but if somebody does want to come up, please raise your hand. And while I'm waiting for people to raise their hands and perhaps jump up and have a quick chat with you, what are you most nervous about in this journey that you're going on, Rajmasters, especially coming from having worked your way up? You're now sitting at the top of a project. You're seeing it through different lenses. as you progress? Is there anything that you're looking at that you're thinking, oh, that's going to be a real challenge? I'm a little bit nervous about it, but I'm looking forward to tackling it head on.
Well, I'll be completely honest with you, okay? In regards to, my vision and the things that I've got in store that I've planned out, okay? I'm actually not nervous about any of them. As
Okay.
Jason can actually also tell you as well, and the rest of my team who've been wonderful and supported me, I've basically been working on, some of the stuffs that I'm designing, the numbers, the spreadsheets I've been going over and everything. Um, for the next 20 years on how would I, deal with this encounter? What if this happened? Looking at worst case scenarios, what can I do and everything? So in terms of like, do I foresee anything that could potentially like, make me not deliver as I want to deliver? No problem at all. I've bas even all my calculations, I always do things with worst case scenarios, as in with low performances and
Hmm.
everything. And I've calculated everything there. So in regards to the products, the ecosystem of Warhaven, what we're building, I have no nervousness or anything about that. I have full 200% confidence in my ability to deliver all of these things. I think the biggest nervousness that I actually had was actually getting on stage with you on the panel.
You've been doing fantastic so far. You don't have to be nervous at all. You're explaining it very well. I think the only thing that might have made you nervous is the fact that Jason's sitting next to you and wasn't going to let you drop anything too big in terms of alpha, right? But no, you've been doing fantastic. It
Jason
speaks.
has been a good support, and I just gotta tell you, okay, and I've said, and I think I've said this multiple times already to other people as well. Jason, I wish you came 10 years prior. I wish I met you.
It's
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
and having such a strong working relationship, as we've already spoken on, is key to your success. It's going to be key to the success moving forward. The fact that you are confident, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, is down to how methodical you guys are in terms of how you map things out, which direction you want to go in, the partnerships that you might want to make. Can you guys talk a little bit about exactly how methodical it is as you run through your figures? Because you are numbers guys. I think it's going to be very interesting for the audience to hear exactly the kind of work that goes into the background, which is why you can boast 17 months in the green and then expand in this unique way.
Jason, you want to start off first?
Yeah, sure. So at the end of the day, everything has to be done like a business. Okay. And the reason I talk so much about prior experience is because I've got an insurance brokerage running currently with over 220 people. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I've applied the same knowledge and the same obviously workmanship and the same thought planning as I would my normal businesses in real life. All right. And having that financial background, it's very similar. People think crypto is a whole different world. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's different technology, yes. All right. But it's based upon the same principles of real world. And at the end of the day, if you are a successful businessman in the real world, you'll be able to be a successful businessman in the crypto industry. It's very simple. It's how you obviously bring that across and how you obviously market it out. And first of all, the intention you have in this space. If you are preparing to be a good person and actually build a product that can give great services, give that revenue, do everything you're planning to do, then you'll be fine. Bad actors will be seen immediately. That's what I love about the crypto space. We all know the biggest, cliche is the blockchain doesn't lie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I love it. That's why I love this space, because literally you can't rules in place. And people say, the SEC, fuck them, they're doing this. I can't wait for them to get their act together and actually put the rules and regulations in place, because then it's going to make the space even safer. So while
Mm-hmm.
yes, they're being a bunch of idiots and they're taking their time, fair enough. But at the end of the day, once that rules and regulations are in place, it's just this crypto industry is going to thrive. It's going to take over. It's going to be one of the biggest industries in the world. And that's why I say, if you've got experience in the real world, it's the same thing. So for us, to have that obviously methodical planning, it's the same as going to a bank with a business plan. All right.
Mm-hmm.
The community is basically the bank. All right. Let's be honest. Okay, we are
Right.
obviously being a bank. We are taking their money, we are lending it out, making investments, making more money, and they are profiting off of that. The same what I do with my real world businesses. But the only way a bank's going to give you a loan is if you come to with a smart business plan. They agree with it. They see you obviously, and they think, okay, here we go. I see your numbers are all in order. Here's the loan. And that's exactly what's obviously being done here, and why WarFi firstly has worked so well, and why Warhaven will work so well in the future. It's methodically planned, and that's coming from two numbers, guys. So.
Great. Yes, I agree, and I think it's exactly what this space needs. I think the space was, it was far too open to exploitation by people who don't know business, they don't know how to run a business, and kids, frankly, who were just coming into play, make a quick buck, and disappear. And I think those bad actors are slowly starting to be weeded out as audience members start to become a bit more educated in how this space works, and they're expecting a certain level of professionalism and approach. And I think you guys are delivering on that, which again is a testament to you guys. One thing we didn't really touch on is Dragon Shares. Do you want to talk me through that a tiny bit?
Sure, of course. Okay. So Dragon Shares it's actually going to be a very limited amount of Dragon Shares when it comes out. Now, just for transparency, because I know when people, the users, they come into a project, they want to know when is this coming out or when can I actually participate in that particular product. Dragon Shares is going to be releasing in approximately 3 years' time. Now, some might think, hang on, wow, that's 3 years. That's quite a long time away. But there's a genuine reason for it, why that is. As I've mentioned before, Warhaven is going to have specialized Warbots version 4, which will be bringing in revenue for the project. And we want that time frame to build up our revenue, the project's revenue, so we can help develop it without having to use investors' funds. So we're going to be using our own funds to develop all of that. The Dragon Shares is going to be an NFT that produces a return between 4 to 7%. This will be paid out in Dragon tokens, and that's going to be the currency of the Warhaven entire ecosystem. So moving forward, every single product purchases, anything that's bought, is only going to be can only be bought with a Dragon Shares token. Now, Dragon Shares token is also going to be an appreciating asset. So the way it'll work is the team will first mint the amount of Dragon Share tokens that needs to be paid out to the users based on their amount of holdings, a share percentage that they own in the NFTs.
Yeah.
And then this will be this will be put in the DApp where a user stakes their NFT and it gets drip fed throughout the entire month. So let's just say somebody was to earn $60 for the month. As an example, I'm just using that. So they will be getting $2 a day over a period of 30 days. So that makes $60. So it's going to be drip fed to them, which they can basically claim whenever they want. Now, they have a couple of options with the Dragon Shares token. One, they can either redeem it for stable coins, so they can just take their monthly earnings from it. That's completely up to them. The second option is where a user may decide, okay, I'm just going to hold on to my Dragon Share tokens, and as the price keeps on appreciating, then I will sell it for a higher value amount in the future. Or the third option is they can hold on to it in order to purchase the Awoken NFT, which is the next product that will be coming in the future. So that's the basics of the Dragon Shares. However, because these NFTs are going to be quite limited, and anybody who does not own a Dragon Share NFT, they cannot get hold of these. They cannot earn these tokens. What I'm also going to be developing is our auction house system. Anybody who's ever played a game like, say, Final Fantasy 11 or Final Fantasy 14 online game, I mean, I was a big fan of that game, okay? They used to have a thing called like an auction house system where you can put up items for sale for somebody else to buy. So I'm going to develop an auction house system where owners of the Dragon Share NFT, because they're going to be classed as the suppliers, think of them like the banks in Warhaven, they can put the Dragon Share tokens up for sale, where another user who does not own the NFT can now purchase it from the auction house by bidding on it. Like, okay, you know what? This guy, he's put 100 tokens up for sale at this price. The price is going to be determined by the owner of the NFT based on demand and supply, of course. So if there's a product that's coming out, let's just say that Awoken, and people in the community are like, okay, I want to get that, but I've not got a Dragon Share NFT, they can just buy it from the auction.
Great. I think that's an interesting concept, and I look forward to seeing you build that out. That's going to be something that's quite fun. And I'll say it again. I like the fantasy aspect of what you guys are doing. I like that it is in keeping with what you thoroughly enjoy, because you're obviously passionate about that side of things. I can tell when you're talking on it, and I'm sure you've played plenty of fantasy games, and I think it will speak to how much attention to detail you'll put into this when you are building out. I'm being asked if there's any more alpha that you can drop, Jason. So is there anything else that you can drop to kind of wet people's beaks before we run the giveaways? Putting you on the
How
spot.
about okay? Well, just to let you guys know, I'm coming for an update next week, right? So WarFi will have an AMA with the pillars next week. Be here or be square, and you'll miss the alpha. So.
Oh, okay. We're going to start the giveaways now. You've got to be part of the Warhaven Discord. I've thrown the link in. I've got there before David could. So it's in the stage questions. Make sure you jump into the Discord in order to be eligible to win. Rajmaster, I've got one more question for you before I ask you just to recap when your launch details are, what the launch details are, and how people can get in. What are you most excited about? From a personal point of view, this has obviously been a journey for you. You're now at a stage where you're on the verge of launching. That in itself, I'm sure, must be exciting, daunting, exciting. There's a gambit of emotions that you'll be going through. Is there any singular point that you're looking at and thinking, when I get to that point, then I'm going to relax a little bit, not too much. I'm going to pat myself on the back and just say, yeah, I got to this point, and this was what I was looking forward to.
Okay, so this is something it's going to take quite some time actually to reach there. I've actually today put in an announcement on the Warhaven Discord. Warhaven, eventually it will become a closed Discord in the future. Once we reach a certain point in total value locked. The biggest achievement I would say is once I get to that stage where every single individual, and I mean every single individual in the Warhaven community, not only have they ROI'd on the investments that they've put into the products, but they're now at a stage where I want to hear them come into the Discord and say that all their living expenses, whether it's for food, shopping, etc., it's been taken care of from their monthly, income that they're getting from the War Dragon NFTs, the Dragon Shares, or even the Awoken NFT, whichever one that they wish to participate in. Knowing that people no longer have to worry about all these rogue projects, I don't want to mention them. I mean, I've been affected recently, and I just want to see people flourish. Basically, I don't want to see people going through hardship, because I've been there. Like I said, I grew up in a poor family, and I've gone through that journey of struggling on trying to put food on the table and thinking about where can I, how can I afford the rent next month to look after my elderly parents and everything. I've seen what it's like. So the things that I never had as I was growing up, I hope, through my vision, I can give that to others.
I think that's a lovely sentiment. And again, it should give the listeners a real idea of what it is that you're working towards, that it's not necessarily something that's going to come immediately, nor is it going to be easily obtainable, but you're working towards that.
Yes.
I think this is a particularly interesting offshoot of WarFi. We're going to speak next week to Jason. He's going to be able to tell us exactly how successful it's been. I'm likely going to struggle to find many things to kind of pick holes at, although I will try my best, because That's me. But you know, I'm always very impressed every time I hear WarFi brought up. I tell Jason privately as well that I am also hearing it brought up more and more. There is a lot coming from you guys, and you're going from strength to strength. So why don't we finish on you giving us a little bit of details on the launch? When is it launching? When can people get in? When can they jump on one of these NFTs? Just while we're finishing off the giveaway and people are jumping into your Discord.
Okay. So I've got an AMA with James Pelton on the 19th. So this will be around 8 p.m. UTC time frame. And during that live AMA, the launch, halfway through, probably half an hour through the AMA, we are planning on releasing it publicly, the D app, to the community.
Exciting. And that's when they can jump in immediately, is it?
That's correct, yes.
Great. Perfect. Well, I'll be listening. I'll make sure to tune in. You had absolutely no reason to be nervous. You know, there aren't many questions coming in now, which means you've pretty much, as somebody's already said, you've pretty much answered everything anybody wanted to know. You've spoken wonderfully, so well done. And it's been a real pleasure talking to you. So thank you very much for coming in. It's been a great chat.
Thank you very much.
Jason, thank you too. And I look forward to going head to head next week and trying to get that alpha out of you.
Bring it on. Us Africans are strong.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. And you have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, see you next week. Cheers, boys.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Oh, by the way,
yes,
the Dragon Shares priority list giveaway, giving 5 away.
Yes, we are giving 5 whitelist spots away. Let me just double check that that's also been put into the giveaway channel. I think David's going to be in charge of that, so he's going to ensure that we send those people in your direction, and we'll make sure that they open a ticket in your Discord to get a hold of one of those whitelists.
Okay, excellent.
Perfect. Rajmaster, thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who came in to listen. You know, our numbers didn't dwindle, so people stuck around to hear what you had to say. They were super interested. And I'm sure everyone's looking forward to seeing what you guys are going to be bringing to the table. So good luck with your live AMA with James Pelton, and I hope we can have this conversation again in the future.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Take care, brother. Take care.